In the world of Marvel Comics, characters become villains for a lot of reasons. Sometimes they are looking to get stupid rich. Sometimes they are out for revenge against those who wronged them. Sometimes they are just looking to mess some shit up. But few villains become so for love, to make someone else happy. Stunner is one of those rare villains who I can't wait to tell you more about on this episode of Lesser Evils. Stunner first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 397 from 1995. Before becoming her idealized self, Stunner was known as Angelina Brancale. Growing up overweight and dealing with the verbal abuse from others her entire life, Angelina felt trapped in the prison that was her own body. Angelina would take a job as a secretary and meet her employer's associate, Otto Octavius, better known as the villainous Dr. Octopus. Angelina fell deeply in love with Octavius, or as she liked to call him, her Otto. Willing to do anything for her love, Angelina agreed to help with a machine her employer, Dr. Caroline Trainer, had created called the Virtual Reality Matrix. The machine was intended to create a new digital body for Octavius should he die in his dangerous rivalry with Spider-Man. Angelina Brancale would become the first test subject for this VR technology. Despite the pain caused by the tests and the implants needed for the machine, Angelina saw it all as a gift from her lover. When the machine is turned on, her inner self is realized, and Stunner is born. The first time readers get to meet Stunner, she is picking a fight at a bar to show off. After breaking some stuff and roughing up some patrons, Dr. Octopus arrives and pays for the damage before the pair leave. After the two arrive at their private home, Stunner listens as Dr. Octopus has a crisis of faith concerning Spider-Man's recent aggressive change in attitude. Stunner is successful in raising her man's spirits before she has to disappear without an explanation. A short time later, Spider-Man is debilitated by a virus in his system and winds up falling off of a building. Stunner is there to catch the delirious Spider-Man, who asks who the unknown woman is. Stunner answers by gleefully punching the sickly hero across the street and onto another rooftop. While Stunner treats the encounter like a game, a no BS Spider-Man lashes out to no effect. After viciously knocking Spider-Man unconscious, Stunner is joined by Dr. Octopus, who realizes something is very wrong with his nemesis and vows to fix him. Stunner accompanies Dr. Octopus to his lab, where she watches him fail to find a cure for his adversary's condition. Octavius contacts Aunt May to assure her of her nephew's condition, only to discover that she had recently suffered a stroke. Octavius sends Stunner to get flowers for the sick woman, where she is watched from the shadows by the Spider-Man clone known as Kane, who had been murdering other Spider-Man villains. When Octavius' final attempt at a miracle cure causes Spider-Man to violently break free of his restraints, Stunner attempts to recapture the crazed hero, but is caught off guard by the hero's spider sense and he escapes. It's not long before Spider-Man returns to Octavius' lab and he works alongside Dr. Octopus to fix his fatal condition. Leaving the two men to their important work, Stunner blows off steam by smashing trees in Central Park. It is there she hears Kane warn her to stay away from Dr. Octopus. Returning to the lab, Stunner finds Dr. Octopus working to revive Spider-Man, who is having a cardiac arrest. After Octavius succeeds, he tells Stunner to begin her part in his next plan. She leaves her lover with a goodbye kiss, unaware it would be their last. Stunner leaves to alert the police to Dr. Octopus's location, where he happily allows himself to be arrested. On a nearby rooftop, Stunner waits for the moment to break her man free. She is surprised to be attacked with a gas grenade by Kane that surprisingly renders her artificial form unconscious. This leaves Stunner unable to stop Kane from attacking Dr. Octopus and ultimately breaking Octavius' neck, killing the villain. Stunner eventually regains consciousness, concerned only for her Otto. She arrives at the crime scene and is devastated to find the corpse of her lover. Stunner's focus turns to getting revenge on Kane. She forces a team-up between herself and the detective trying to catch Kane. Accompanied by the detective, Stunner roughly interrogates a former employer of Kane who reveals little useful information. Soon after, the criminal trial for Peter Parker begins for the murders that his clone Kane committed. Fuck, I love comics. Stunner scopes out the courthouse with the detective, expecting Kane to show. Stunner catches a break when she is alerted to a possible Kane sighting. The feeling of loss still fresh, Stunner is ready for revenge. The pair drive to the scene, where they discover Spider-Man fighting Kane. Stunner arrives and tells Spider-Man to step aside so she can murder the villain. Their meeting is interrupted by the arrival of Judas Traveler, who teleports both men elsewhere, leaving Stunner by herself with nothing but her rage. When Judas Traveler returns with Spider-Man and Kane, Stunner wastes no time snatching up her lover's murderer. She proclaims how Otto's murder ripped out her heart before smashing Kane into a wall as Spider-Man works to stop her. Feeling betrayed by Spider-Man, who is only alive because of Dr. Octopus, Stunner brutally backhands the hero away from her. Turning back to her target, Stunner discovers Kane, preparing to burn her with his Mark of Kane. But Spider-Man bounces back in time to knock the two combatants apart. Spider-Man tries to explain that Kane needs to stay alive for Peter Parker's sake, but Stunner doesn't care about anyone other than her Otto. Kane readily returns to fighting Stunner, but the confrontation causes the building they are in to collapse. Stunner is caught in the debris and buried under the rubble. Spider-Man tries to dig her out, but watches in confusion as Stunner's body fades away to nothing. Sometime later, Stunner is reactivated by Caroline Traynor, who has since taken the identity as the new Dr. Octopus. In cyberspace, Stunner is introduced to an entity called the Master Programmer, who is actually a mental backup of Otto Octavius made before he ever met Angelina Brancale. The Master Programmer puts Stunner at ease, allowing the entity to manipulate her into helping him. When Caroline Traynor captures an undercover FBI agent, she forcefully plugs him into the virtual reality matrix. The agent panics as he enters the cyberspace network, until Stunner appears in front of his virtual self, explaining the freedom of living in a virtual world. Unfortunately for Angelina, she is soon kicked out of her perfect world when the VR machinery is destroyed during a battle between the Scarlet Spider and the Master Programmer. Forced back into the real world, Angelina finds work at a video store and is frustrated at having to cater to the fantasies of others. Angelina's luck changes when Caroline Traynor returns seeking her help. Hooked to a new VR machine, Angelina is happy to be rid of her real body and become the superpowered Stunner once again. Stunner learns that a group of ninja are seeking to resurrect Dr. Octopus. She and Traynor attempt to locate Octavius' body, but instead walk into a trap set by waiting ninja. Stunner holds her own against the group of ninja, as well as the hired assassin accompanying them. Stunner almost gets a meat hook piercing before Spider-Man interrupts the pair's fight. Despite Spider-Man's capabilities, the alliance of villains manage to incapacitate the hero, who soon finds himself strapped next to Otto Octavius' corpse. When Spider-Man awakens and breaks free of his bonds, Stunner attempts to put the hero back in position, but Spider-Man dodges the powerful woman's wild attack before she is brutally kicked through a wall. With their sacrifice gone, the ritual is incomplete, until Stunner volunteers to take Spider-Man's place, believing that the world needs her Otto. Unaware of Stunner's inorganic nature, the ninjas accept her sacrifice. As the ceremony begins, Stunner's form begins melting, as Angelina's VR machine short-circuits and explodes. The resurrection process proves a success, but Dr. Octopus soon discovers that the ordeal has left Angelina in a comatose state, the overload from the machine being too much for her mind. Now kept alive by machines, her Otto leaves a rose for her every day. Years later, Dr. Octopus manages to avoid death again by switching his mind with the mind of Spider-Man's, and after a bout of deep soul-searching, Otto would take on the title of the superior Spider-Man. At seemingly the same moment as Octavius' real body dies, Angelina Brancale begins to awaken from her coma. When she is able, her first question was to ask if Otto Octavius is alive. When she learns of his recent passing, she angrily lashes out. Motivated by her anger, Angelina completes her physical therapy and wastes no time locating a seemingly abandoned building. This building turns out to be a secret lab of Dr. Caroline Traynor, containing a forgotten VR matrix that Angelina plugs herself into so she can once again become her true self, Stunner. Searching for Spider-Man, Stunner's first stop is the Daily Bugle, where she makes an entrance by making her own entrance. Stunner orders one of the employees to tell her where Spider-Man is. The Bugle's owner, Joseph Robbie Robertson, politely explains the best way to get Spider-Man's attention was to commit a crime. Following Robertson's advice, Stunner begins causing a ruckus. When the superior Spider-Man arrives on the scene, he is shocked to see his former love awake with no idea who he really is. Stunner confesses that she has nothing left but her VR tech and her pain before she tries to smash the man she believes ruined her life. Spider-Man attempts to web Stunner to the street before leaving to track down Angelina's true location. He misses Stunner utilize a new trick as she ghosts her way through the webbing. Spider-Man doesn't make it far before his spider sense picks up the bus that Stunner has thrown at him. Catching the bus with his webs and saving his current girlfriend, Spider-Man is left vulnerable as he holds the bus in place. Seeing her opportunity, Stunner attacks Spider-Man with a trash dumpster, who deflects the object with spider versions of his classic tentacles. Believing the hero stole the idea from her auto, Stunner brutally rips them off of the hero. With Spider-Man at her mercy, Stunner prepares to take her revenge, but only gets in one good punch before the hero's spider bots find and disable Angelina's VR matrix, causing Stunner to dissolve moments from victory. Spider-Man makes his way to Angelina's location, where he finds the poor woman unconscious from the machine's feedback. When Angelina wakes up, she discovers her VR tech is missing. Secretly using the VR tech to impersonate his old self, Octavius tells Stunner he found a way to cheat death again. Angelina is thrilled to be with her love again, but her heart is shattered when her auto reveals that he loves another woman now. Angelina is left emotionally broken on the floor as her auto walks out of her life. Stunner would have one more appearance alongside dozens of other villains working for one of my favorite villains, Arcade, but whether she was real or a robot, who knows. So why do I like Stunner? I think Stunner is a really unique character because Angelina became Stunner not to overcome her perceived weakness or to get revenge on those who brought her pain, but because she genuinely loved Otto Octavius and just wanted to make him happy. In return for that love, Angelina got what she wanted more than anything: to be a better version of herself and to escape the body that she saw as her prison. Almost every action Stunner made was fueled by that love, and to me that is special. It makes it that much more devastating when Otto ends up breaking her heart after she gave literally everything for him. But let me introduce an interesting idea. The story of Stunner that I have told you has merely been her origin story. That readers have yet to see the really dangerous woman who has nothing left to lose and would be happy to burn the world down. And Stunner has the power to do just that. In the Marvel Universe, technology seems pretty easy to replace, with genius inventors like the Tinkerer and Stuart Clark, or criminal organizations like Advanced Idea Mechanics. Angelina's own skills are unrevealed, but she was capable enough to utilize her holographic avatar in previously unseen ways. Being made out of light, Stunner's powers could develop all sorts of ways. Team her up with other badass women like Lascivious and Letha, and you have a villain team ready to make their mark. Spider-Man is in need of good female villains, and Stunner is among his best. As of this video, Dr. Octopus is alive and back in his body, so who knows how Angelina would feel about him now. It can only be a matter of time before Stunner appears again, and I pity the fool who risks playing with her heart.